What do people learn too late? To protect their ears. You don't want to live with tinnitus for the rest of your life because you were exposed to loud noise once. Learned this one too late. I can ignore it most of the time, but some nights. Setting and respecting boundaries. How to give a genuine apology, and other such communication 101 skills. Take care of your teeth. That salary amount is not the entirety of an equation when deciding where to work. You have to take into account the cost of living, commute times, the safety of the nearby area, and the convenience of living in the area. Studies have shown that taking a 20-minute longer commute is as bad for your job satisfaction as a 19% pay cut. On top of that, health money in money out. If a new job pays 20k more, but a friend property prices are 30k more per year, you are taking a pay cut. On top of that, you have to consider your future. Do you have to move to an undesirable location to work there, crammed in a little apartment where the nearest services are an hour away? What about air quality? What about noise levels? Is this a place where you want to start a family and raise kids? All of those play a factor in determining the desirability of a job. I am a firm believer that my job doesn't exist outside this city is a bullshit myth. Even if you're a super specialized rocket scientist with a PhD in orbital dynamics, NASA is not the only organization with a job opening for you. There are many more factors to that. Is this a job you really like? If you are making more money, but hate the job, is it really worth it? You are spending most of your day and your life at that place. If that part of your life sucks, it will affect your mood and happiness a lot. And close to that, the work atmosphere. Are you getting along with your colleagues? Is your boss a decent person? The social part plays a big role and is often ignored. The importance of writing skills for formal contexts. Writing is an important skill in nearly any field, and the more a career advances, the more important it becomes. The lack of adequate writing skill often holds back a career. Yet many people squander their opportunities to learn writing because they think their class assignments are empty busy work, and they figure their skills in spoken English and informal text messages will carry over when they need to write for work. How dangerous driving a car can be. This is very true. I survived 2 car accidents without any scratch in 3 months. Drive safe, and remember, just because you have priority way, it doesn't mean that they will give it to you. Pay attention. Sometimes letting go of your priority is the way to avoid an accident. Letting an idiot having his way is preferable to getting into an accident with said idiot, no matter how well you are within your rights. And also know that one day that idiot will be you because you lost focus, as humans tend to do once in a while. That the cliche "you never know when it's the last time you'll see to someone" should absolutely be remembered for every occasion. My best friend just died in a car accident this past Saturday, and the last time I saw him we got in an argument and he left and we didn't speak after that. I'm destroyed by it. My grandpa passed away 2 weeks ago from cancer. We flew to Saskatchewan, where he lives, and managed to see him. I talked with him and gave him a hug. Before we left, I had the feeling that I was never seeing him again. I snuck back into the room and gave him one last hug and told him that I will miss him. He died 6 hours later. I'm so grateful for whatever it was that told me to see him one last time before we went home. I'm so grateful you got that. My little brother passed this last Saturday, and I will also be forever grateful for the feeling to tell him I love him when I saw him last. I wish I paid more attention to that feeling and asked him not to go out that night. What not to share on the internet. I am so grateful that my party years of 1323 occurred in a pre-camera phone era. Amen to that. My MySpace pics are embarrassing enough. I'm glad I don't come across cringe-worthy pics of myself in skinny scarves and leg warmers. Lol. I lived in AZ. Why on earth did I wear those things in 120-degree heat? Not to mention my emo face shudder. Those can stain the family photo albums. What should I not share? I'm not sure, but I have heard that it's always a good thing to share credit card numbers, expiry dates, security numbers, and so on. How to manage their finances. Lesson number 1. $1,000 is not a lot to have, but it's a lot to owe. Lesson number 2. It's much easier to blow $100 than it is to make $100. My boyfriend was in a poker tournament where first prize was $250k. Someone told him, "Wow, that's quit your job money." We were very concerned for this dude's finances. Friend of mine inherited $400k from a relative. He announced it on Facebook, Suddenly had tons of new friends, a new apartment, new electronics, new girlfriend who was madly in love with him. They got married in a huge ceremony. The money was gone within 18 months, and within 3 months of that she divorced him for being broke, and he had to move back into his mom's. Several years ago, in my 30s, I let slip that I had about $100,000 in savings and investments. Some of my friends were blown away. One even said I was set for life. No, not even close. I was raised super debt phobic. I was always responsible and only bought things I could afford and paid cash. I finished college and grad school by working and taking cash loans from family. After I started my career, I saved a nice chunk of cash for a 20% down payment on a house. I couldn't get a mortgage. I didn't exist. My parents taught me how to avoid debt but not how to build credit. I should have used a credit card and paid it off monthly instead of using cash. That you might be wrong sometimes. Some never learn. I've discovered that my nature is to never accept that I'm wrong. I will give excuses, argue, but not accept. I've made it a resolution this year to just accept it when I'm wrong. In Western cultures, if you admit that you're wrong when you actually are, and ask how you can do better next time and then do it, people will be a lot more impressed than if you're the guy who is never wrong. That happiness usually comes from a diverse range of interests, hobbies, and commitments. You are not your job. Your romantic partner cannot be your everything, etc. It's so easy to get sucked into a life where your career is everything, or where you wrap your entire identity around your partner. There is nothing wrong with celebrating your loved ones and being close, and there is nothing wrong with caring about your job. You just need more to thrive. I see this so often in relationships. Two people meet and fall in love. They each inspire one another based on their interests and achievements. It's part of what makes them fall in love. But slowly, over time, they let those hobbies go. Stress gets in the way, bills pile up, and then one day they find themselves wondering why they ever loved this person in the first place. Instead of being sexy and interesting, they're just part of a routine. TLDR. Diversify your interests and activities to be happy. Don't rely on a single person, hobby, or commitment to give you everything you need. Weave the tapestry of your life with many threads. Phrasier. This isn't just about hobbies or a partner. Some people lose their personality and can't talk about anything else but their children. And then when Timmy's and Annis grow up and leave the nest, those people are broken and depressed. You are more than your children. Don't let them rob you of your soul. P. That mental emotional abuse are a real thing. Red flags. Sitting on your A all day is not good for your health at all. Rolls over onto stomach instead. Now you listen here, you little Sitting is the new smoking. It's silly, but seeing as how my heavy smoking mother passed away and I sit a lot during the day, work, commute, hobby, that sentence motivated me to become more active, go for walks, runs, and to the gym, school. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. That no is a complete sentence. Don't get in the habit of auto-launching explanations and defenses. Oftentimes, the people listening will ignore all that anyway and just hear, but here's an opportunity to dissuade me. Look how hard I'm working to get your approval to say no to you. The value of a good unconditional friend. Had the same best friend since I was 2. Don't know where I'd be without her. Me too. We're nearly 30. She's more like a sister at this point. We're really close and speak most days. Our kids are the same age as well. She's always got my back. She's kind, honest and loyal and not afraid to tell me when I'm effing up. I couldn't be without her. If this ain't wholesome, IDK, what is? That some things can never be undone. The actions you take and the words you speak will come back around sooner or later. Yes, some words can never be taken back. I learned the hard way. This is why it's better to train yourself to think carefully before saying something. I didn't do that because I wanted everything to come naturally, but I realized that's just an excuse I used to avoid taking responsibility of things I said. How to communicate. Not communicating with my wife almost destroyed my marriage. I'm finally learning to tell my wife how I feel. I whipped out PP. Is this how to obtain GF? If the cops aren't there by now. Possibly. Mistakes have consequences. Sometimes they are huge consequences, such as a mistake while driving could kill yourself or someone else. Sometimes they are little consequences, but always learn from your mistakes, and that you should always be learning and improving yourself. Can you milk me? Foka? The value of walking away from someone toxic in your life, even if it is your parents and family. If you are thinking of it and are scared and have somewhere where you can land in a safe place, then do it. It hurts like hell for a long while, but it gets better, and one day you realize how peaceful your life is and you find you only miss the family you wish you had had. That it's never too late to learn. You really whipped out the reverse there. That most people will just help you. How and if they can, if you are honest with them. It seems like so many people feel the need to conceal what they actually want from you, and try to get it by presenting a half-truth or what they think you want to hear instead of just being straightforward. I can vouch for this. I know my parents loved me, but they sort of messed up bad with this one by making me feel like I could never directly approach them about anything I needed help on without also being vulnerable to them possibly being upset with me just for asking. I'd have to figure out a way to ask without asking or making up close to truth lies. Never felt good about those. This eventually led to me never reaching out when I needed help, and it took me years after moving out to be able to confront this problem just on an emotional level. If it hadn't been for some really incredible friends, I'd probably still be struggling with this. That they are terrible at parenting. Too late and won't admit it. Your username is weirdly relevant. As a follow-on, don't accidentally have kids with someone who has told you they don't want kids. Overwhelmingly, they won't come to adore the kids. And there is someone in the back who is like, you said overwhelmingly as if there is a small chance. Just know. Don't worry if you aren't living an exciting or extravagant life. It's okay to live simply and quietly. It doesn't mean that you're wasting your life. I'm the most boring person ever. I'm 30. Never went out when I was younger. Never bunked a day of school. Got straight A's. Never smoked a cigarette or anything else. Never ever been tipsy, and I don't drink. I'm always at home crocheting. Playing with my kids. Gardening. I have about 4 friends and no social media. I didn't really date. Met my husband at 20 and got married. Didn't have a wedding. And I love getting a good bargain, but I feel like I'm living the most exciting life because it's my most authentic life, and I'm not changing the world, but I'm keeping my part of the world beautiful and clean. My name is Yoshikage Kira. I'm 33 years old. My house is in the northeast section of Moriya, where all the villas are, and I am not married. I work as an employee for the KMYU department stores, and I get home every day by 8 PM at the latest. I don't smoke, but I occasionally drink. I'm in bed by 11 PM, and make sure I get 8 hours of sleep, no matter what. After having a glass of warm milk and doing about 20 minutes of stretches before going to bed, I usually have no problem sleeping until morning. Just like a baby, I wake up without any fatigue or stress in the morning. I was told there were no issues at my last checkup. I'm trying to explain that I'm a person who wishes to live a very quiet life. I take care not to trouble myself with any enemies, like winning and losing. That would cause me to lose sleep at night. That is how I deal with society, and I know that is what brings me happiness. Although, if I were to fight, I wouldn't lose to anyone. Maybe the superpowered serial killer isn't the guy you take life advice from. Saying I love you or wanting to reach out to your family, friends, and loved ones, but crippling anxiety stops you. You never know when it may be too late to say these things, so be in the moment, and live love in the present authentically. Also, to learn the difference between saying I love you as a statement, and saying I love you but really meaning do you love me, it's fine to switch the real meaning from time to time. Everyone needs a little occasional reassurance, but if all my I love you utterances come from the latter, and especially the first one in a romantic relationship, I need to do some work of myself if I hope to have any quality relationships in my life. Don't ever think it's okay to talk to yourself in a manner you wouldn't let another human being talk to you. The biggest abuser I ever had in my life was my constant companion, the thoughts in my head. We often take care to choose our words when correcting a child or friend, but if anyone had talked to me the way I talked to me for 30 straight effing years, and probably got away with it too, be nice to yourself. You're the only you have. My brain after reading that, yeah, be nicer to yourself you stupid F. Why don't you think happier thoughts you lil b? There's a line from a musical I really like. Company, do you know if other people did to you what you do to yourself? They could be put in jail. It's a line that has stuck with me for, shoot, almost 15 years now, and treating myself kindly is something I'm still struggling with, but it is important to remember. Interest rates, credit cards, credit score, money saving techniques, 401k, in other words anything that keeps you from being trapped by poor money management. I straight up had to go out of my way to take a personal finance class to learn half of this shit. That was like 2 months ago and I already forgot most of it. I recommend the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi if you need a refresher. I've been working through it myself and it's pretty useful so far. A cat on his back inviting a chesty rub is a trap. How slippery a slope addiction is. How quickly trying something at a party turns into being hooked. Nicotine is a bee. I know it's awful for me and my lungs, but I just keep on going back. I'm 3 days clean right now, Mayo. It's a start. Learning when to say no. Learning how to apologize when it's your fault. And how to not apologize when it's not your fault. I am absolutely guilty of the latter. Me. Standing in line the grocery store. Guy. Walks up. Shoves me aside and grabs some gum. Me. Oh, sorry, my mom. Why are you apologizing? This guy just walked up, shoved you out of the way and grabbed something he didn't need when he could have just asked nicely. Me. A. Reflex. I don't really care either way. I should probably stop doing that. Learning when to say no. This can be quite hard for non-confrontational people and or people who prefer to avoid conflict in order to please people. Any tips for making saying no a more comfortable process? Consider what saying yes will cost you: time, energy, money, etc. If you really can't part with what it would cost, then no is a statement of fact and an act of self-respect. Also, recognize that other people are allowed to be upset or have negative emotions, without it being your job to fix that, even if they say you're the source or reason. Obviously, if you've hurt someone with your words or actions, you should apologize, but if someone's mad at you for not doing them a favor, too bad. You're probably not their only option and they'll just have to learn to solve their own problems. We're each responsible for our own happiness. We can choose to add to the happiness of others, but it's nobody's job to ensure someone else's happiness. That it's possible to do everything fine right and still lose. Just life in it. Chav P. May you live long and lit. Social media can consume your life. It's not all real, and not everyone posting pictures is having a great time, and not every "I love you so much we should catch up" is genuine. That's why I use Reddit only, plus I don't have many friends. Yeah, me too, but I think we are consumed even worse, and the poster themselves has to reply to every single one with a slightly different reaction. That cutting toward yourself is a bad idea. That cutting yourself is a bad idea. How to not give a F about how others see you. Seems simple enough for me now in my 20s, but back in high school there were many Fs given about how others saw me. Ironically, those people that didn't care how others saw them were often the more respected ones. Also, there's a difference between not caring what people think and being a sucking taint monkey. Don't be an a-hole and try to pretend you are just telling it like it is. Not everyone is going to like you. No matter how hard you try, you could be the juiciest peach in existence, full of flavor. Yet there will still be those who don't like peaches. You're as pure as a peach and as nice and as neat, as fine and as fair and as swell and as sweet. As soft and as smooth and as cool and as cute. She smiled at him gently. It's just, I hate fruit. The importance of education. As a kid you're always hear generic statements like, this will help your career, but nothing specific enough to be useful. That hating people who are different makes you nothing but unhappy. Wow, isn't that the truth? To not stick, insert object, into, insert different, dangerous object. The view from halfway down. Pulling out is not an effective method for birth control. The deflector shield will be quite operational. Save your goddamn money. How short life is. That being mean to people will get you nowhere. 2 words, flared base. Many college degrees have no job market. Trade school is a financially solid option out of high school. This, biggest regret in life going to college. I luckily got out of it with way less debt than most for my completely unmarketable degree, communications. In high school, I wanted to be an electrician. I was a musician and was fascinated with how amplifiers and whatnot work. I didn't even know that that field is probably one of the most well-paid trades there is, because it's effing dangerous. When I was 17, my parents told me, go to college, or you aren't our son anymore. Off to college I went. I've since restarted in a totally different field, which I could have gotten into out of high school, and would probably be in a cushy office position by now, but I'm doing okay. My story is a rare one though. There really shouldn't be people with master's degrees working at McDonald's, but this is the world we live in.